Welcome to PG6S channel. This is going to be kind of my big Mosin Nagant review. I'm going to do individual videos on the different variations I actually have. So I already have a couple of videos like that. But this is going to be an overview of the entire type. Uh, sort of like just the Mosin as a whole. I'm going to try to list out most of the rarer variations. And just kind of tell you what I think about the gun. Here in front of you, you're looking at an M44 carbine, a normal M9130. Well, it's not exactly normal. We'll get to that in a minute. And a PU sniper. Now, believe it or not, the most common gun on this table is probably the M44. The quote-unquote normal Mosin in the middle is actually a 1944 Tula X sniper. Makes it kind of rare, and it has a lot of the niceties that the PU sniper in the back has. As you can see, the stocks are real similar and kind of nice looking. In addition to that, it's got a better trigger, a few other things, and most importantly, the marks that make it, a designated sniper. Anyway. So, variations of the Mosin. Let's see if I can name most of them. There's the M9130, which is what you're looking at there in the middle. It is pretty much the standard Mosin. I mean, if you picture it in your mind, that's the one, from World War II. It's one everybody thinks about. Okay. Other than that, there is the M91. That's the first Mosin. Way different. Different style sights. It's actually a little bit longer. Believe it or not, the M9130 is the original carbine version of the Mosin Nagant. The M9130 is based off of the M91 Dragoon, which was the shortened version of the M91. The standard length M9130 is the same length as the cavalry carbine from back in the 1800s. And that's just, wow. Shocking, I guess would be the word. I mean, in our modern terms, the carbine is normal rifle size. I mean, just put it in perspective. This is an M4 carbine. And look, it's, about a foot shorter than the Mosin. Let's see if I can return to our same place. Pretty close. Okay. Anyway, so it's a little shocking that that is the the original carbine. So the Model 91 was probably about a foot longer. Just wow. So then there was the Dragoon model, which eventually became the M9130. Then there are several sniper versions and carbine versions. There's the M38 carbine, which is essentially an M44 without the side folding bayonet. The M44 is the M38 with a side folding bayonet. And then there is the T53, which is the Chinese version, which is that exact same gun made by China. They're usually rougher condition. Their bolts are usually pretty darn shitty. Their stocks are very worn. Other than that, there's also a Polish carbine I've seen, and a Romanian carbine I've seen. While we're on the subject of foreign guns, there are a great number of M9130s that were Russian made that were marked for the DDR, which is East Germany, or places like, I don't know, Poland or other common bloc countries that use these to guard walls and prisons and shit like that after World War II, before they got SKSs and shit. And they even continued on in service after they got the SKS, because there's always guards and police and shit. They're gonna need rifles, and these were in abundance. So there's some of those. Now, as far as Russian-made guns, those are probably the last of them. There may be a couple I'm forgetting about or something, though. Then we go on to Finland. Finland used the Mosin Nagant, and the first one they had was actually the Finn captured Russian guns. They're Russian guns with Finnish stamps on them. Then there are, I think they called M26s, if I remember right, which are those captured guns where they put a Finnish stock on them and done some accurizing to them, and it kind of became their standard rifle for a little bit. And then, even more so than that, there are ones where they've been rebarreled and whatever, and they're still, M9130s, but they're very Finnish. And there's one I have a video on that is a Finn captured Dragoon model, which was captured early enough that the Finns were issuing that as a cavalry carbine as well. And then finally there's the Finnish M39, which is basically regarded as the nicest Mosin by most people. Most people who know anything about Mosins would probably say the M39 is the nicest. They were made by, Seiko, so they're a cut above fucking Eisbeck, which, that's something also we should probably address while we're on variations. In the Russian guns, there are two main manufacturers. There may be another I just don't know of. I don't think so, though. I think when these guns were being made, there were only two. There's Tula, which was the old state arsenal that Peter the Great, I think it was, built in Tula, Russia. And there's Eisbeck, Iskves, Izzy, however you want to pronounce that other one, that also made rifles. And that's who made this gun and the gun in the back. Eisbeck rifles. Let's see if we can get this to focus. Maybe. Right there, you can see there's a little wreath. Come on, focus. With a sickle and hammer in it. Maybe you can see it better if it's out here. Sorry. Anyway, if you could see that at any point, that is the symbol for Eisbeck or Ishvesk or however you want to pronounce it. Then Tula, you have the Tula star, which you can see there if I roll it. Sorry, the lighting's not better. I need like a flashlight or something to show detail work up here because it's dark up here. Light out there. Anyway. Well, that's about it as far as variations go. Now, for shooting Mosin Nagants, they're wonderful guns. They are very light recoiling. I hear people bitch all the time about, 30 caliber rounds being heavy recoil. That's a bunch of shit. Wow. If you shoot guns like this from the bench, you're going to hate them. Okay? And that's because, let me go get a bench rifle. I have one back here. I have it set up here from the last review. If you're used to shooting guns like that, you are probably not going to like shooting a Mosin Nagant from the bench. Okay? You guys can sort of see that. It's better than I thought it would do. Anyway, if you guys are used to shooting guns with that big ass pad that weigh 20 pounds while sitting down, yeah, this is a totally different animal. These guns are made to be shot standing up, where it's the meat of your shoulder, not your collarbone, taking all the punishment. Let me get rid of that sniper rifle in the back now. Knew I left that out for a reason. As far as accuracy goes, my sniper version, 3-shot groups, 1 MOA, 10-shot groups, like 2 MOA. Sorry, the dog is getting bored. Uh, Regular Mosins, I would anticipate around 4 MOA. Some of the carbines, maybe even worse. For some reason, most of the carbines are pretty shot out. I think they were the front line weapons during World War II more than the full-length guns were. And as a result, they got shot a lot more. Most of them have been counterbored, which is a sign of heavy barrel wear. Let's see. Accessories and slings and whatnot. Basically, what you see is what you get. In the back, you have a repro sling, which sucks. In the front, you have a Russian issue sling, which is pretty good. The bayonets for the big guns are fucking useless. I've never seen one that actually fucking fit the gun. If you have a fucking hammer or a wooden mallet, you can get them on. Otherwise, forget it. I honestly don't think the bayonet is incredibly useful on that gun anyway, because they're too fucking long. I mean, if you're in any tight quarters at all, I mean, even like in a trench or something, they are fucking difficult to use as is, much less with a 2-foot bayonet sticking out the front of it. The M44 is pretty nice with the side folding bayonet. If I could choose one variant that was not a sniper, it would be the M44. The sniper, of course, automatically wins because it has a scope and is more accurate and is cool and whatever. You know, it's always going to win. So, excluding the sniper, the M44 I think is the best gun. As far as effectiveness goes, these are not, you know, AR-15s. They're not, you know, ultimate CQB weapons. They take some patience to run, and ideally, I think they're a medium range engagement weapon, like 50 to 200 yards. If someone's in that zone, this weapon is perfectly acceptable. And, you know, as far as, you know, it's a cheap gun, would you pick this over some, you know, cheap handguns and shit like that? Because basically, if you're talking under $200, or $200 and under, you're talking about this gun, a shotgun, or a cheap handgun. Honestly, I'd probably pick the shotgun, but if you were to say Mosin Nagant or High Point C9, I'd pick the fucking Mosin carbine. Rifles end gunfights very quickly compared to handguns, especially shitty handguns. One round at the ready of fucking 7.62 by 54R is a better fight stopper than 8 or 9 rounds of fucking 9mm. It just is. And that's one thing, you know, a lot of people don't want to admit. Is that, you know, in things like the North Hollywood shootout, it wasn't the automatic nature of the rifle that prevented the police from, you know, gaining the upper hand in that situation. It was the fact that it was a rifle and they had handguns. Those rifles could have been semi-auto. Hell, they could have been fucking bolt action. Those cops wouldn't have gotten anywhere near them. Why? Well, because there was a lot of empty space between where the cops were and where the robbers were. When you have a situation like that, you know, they have, you know, 175 yards to close before they can hit them with their handgun, but yet I can shoot them in the fucking head at 200 yards with one of these. I mean, even the shittiest Mosin Nagant will hold an 8-inch group at 200 yards. Okay? So I would tend to lean towards an M44. It's nice, small, short, has a bayonet. You know, if you were to say High Point or that, I would definitely pick that. There may be some other guns for $200 I would pick instead. Like if you gave me the option of the shotgun, I would definitely pick that. Which I already said once already, and now I'm repeating myself, which is bad. Anyway, as far as, you know, gear goes, you can get good stripper clips for these. You have to hunt around a little bit, but they are out there. The Chinese ones suck. Get the Russian ones. Chinese stripper clips, for some reason, always suck. I don't know what it is. It's like they don't fucking give a shit. Which is probably why they suck. How about we finishing Mosins? Good idea, bad idea. Sporterizing them, good idea, bad idea. Don't do it. A lot of people will say, oh, it doesn't matter, there were 17 million Mosins. Well, you know, there were 350 million Mausers. Okay, yeah, sorry, Mauser Model 98s made. There were probably another 200,000 fucking other variants of Mauser made. Yet all of them are rare and worth money now. Why? Because people sporterized them. People destroyed them. And it's not necessarily even that. You know, they came in just like the Mosins, fucking, you know, $89.99 a piece. People bought them up and they hung on to them, just like they do with the Mosins. You don't see used Mosins for sale very much. You do kind of now, because they're the prevalent gun. But I guarantee you, if they stopped importing them tomorrow, 2 years from now, you would not see any Mosins for sale anywhere. Just nobody sees the need to sell them. That's the same reason Mausers are bringing more money, the same reason Lee Enfields are bringing more money, all the rest of that. Your Mosin, even if it's a fucking 1944, 1943 last ditch, whatever, fucking Ishbek that's been factory refurbished, it's still worth fucking money. And it's going to be worth more if it's in its original configuration. I'm a strong believer in that. We'll talk more about the individual variants when we do videos on them. I'm probably going to make a video right now on the sniper, on the carbine, on the X sniper, and then I'm going to use that to make a video on the M91 itself. Basically talking about some different stuff about them. And a lot of it's going to have to do with that collecting thing, because there's, you know, different stuff to look for on all these guns. This one video can't sum it all up. So look in other playlists and stuff on my channel for more Mosin videos. As far as stuff that can be wrong with Mosins, things that, you know, they all have in common that can be wrong with them when you get them, be sure to watch out for counter boring, which, if you look at the end of this gun, this is counterbored. If you look and you see how it's not really a full hump, that silver, there's what I'm talking about. It's not a full crown. They've gone through and drilled this out to a bigger diameter. When you look in the muzzle of this barrel, let's go ahead and try that on camera. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not through the camera, but when you, you guys can't really see. You see how that shining ends part of the way down? That's where the counterbore starts. It's where it's been, had the rifling drilled out to and had a new crown put on. It's bad. It means the gun was shot out. It's not necessarily horrible. They'll probably still shoot just fine, but a lot of the life of the gun is gone if they're doing that. You do that to squeeze more life out of the rifling. Particularly the crown. It means you probably had a fucked up crown too. And the rifling wears first at that far end of the barrel, so it takes that out too. And the rifling needs to be pretty pristine where the bullet leaves to impart spin correctly. Anyway, it's almost 20 minutes of this shit. That's most of the stuff I wanted to cover. Maybe a few things here or there. Cleaning kits. Some of these come with them. Comes with a little multi-tool wrench thing. It's about the only piece that's useful in my opinion. Hang on to that. Bore snakes will not work on full-size Mosins. Too fucking short. Which sucks because they do a pretty good job of cleaning up this type of gun. A tip on seeing if your bolt has been renumbered or not. I actually noticed this the other night. this is the original bent bolt for that sniper. It has never been restamped. Look how high and even that bolt is all the way across. Now look at the carbine bolt. You see something? There's a substantial amount of metal missing there. A lot of Mosins are this way. In fact, most of the ones I've ever seen were like that. Means your bolt's been swapped. They ground off the old serial number. Okay. These snipers aren't, because the bolt is fucking matched to the gun. And kind of has to stay that way. Anyway, one last tip. I'll see you guys later, and be sure to watch for the rest of the videos on these Mosins. Be sure to thumbs up the video and subscribe and all that good shit. See you guys later.